So first of all, here's a graph of f of x. I hope you notice that that's one of the graphs that you know. Do you recognize its shape? Do you see that that's the absolute value of x graph? Okay? So they want us to sketch the graph of y equals negative 1/4 f of x. So one of the things that we're going to start doing as well is when we see an equation like this, we're going to point to the numbers and we're going to say, what are those things? Are they vertical? Are they horizontal? We have to ask ourselves, are they inside the function or are they outside of the function? Those values are both outside of the function, so they're going to be vertical. The negative is going to be a vertical reflection, and the 1/4 would be a vertical compression. So I'll just use V for vertical, R for reflection, C for compression in this case. And underneath that, I'm going to write what's going to happen algebraically. We're going to take our y coordinates and multiply them by negative 1/4. So everything outside the function is exactly how you see it. Another thing that we're going to start to do is we're going to start to show some work with our points. This one, I think you could do this mental math and just draw the graph. Okay? I think you'd have no problem with this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, this is a very important point in our absolute value graph. That one, we always need to know what happens to that point. When picking other points, before I do my work, I'm noticing I have to multiply my y coordinates by negative 1/4. I probably don't want to choose ones that'll give me fractions. It's not bad if you do, but can you see that choosing 4 or 8 for y values will be nice because they divide nicely by 4? So now I picked 5 points on my original graph, and I'm going to write them out. Negative 8, comma 8, negative 4, comma 4, 0, comma 0, 4, comma 4, and 8, comma 8. And what we're going to start showing for work is we're going to start drawing an arrow diagram here and saying, where do these points go? And above the arrow, the only thing we have to do to them right now is multiply the y values by negative 1/4. So I'm going to write above the top arrow what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply my y values by negative 1/4. That means all my x values are going to stay the same. I can just quickly rewrite them if I want, because they're not going to change. But my y values by negative 1/4, this will become negative 2, negative 1, 0, positive 1, positive 2. Again, it will be so easy to make mental math errors. You probably didn't notice it, but each time I wrote an answer, I double-checked it, because I did it in my head. I double-check things pretty quick, so it probably looked like I didn't double-check them. If the shape of your graph looks funny afterwards, probably you made a mental math mistake. So now I'm going to take these blue points, and I'm going to plot them. Negative 8, negative 2. Careful, the scale here is going by 2's. Negative 4, negative 1. 0, 0. 4, 1, negative 1, and 8, negative 2. And after you've graphed it, look at the letters that you wrote. Do you see a vertical reflection? Yes. Does it look like there's been a vertical compression? Yes. So we can sort of do a mental math check. Do each of the things that we wanted to have happen actually show up? In this case, they do. Once again, at this point, you're probably excited to get on to the next question, but take the time to reread the question, because they might have also asked about the domain and range. Yes, they did. So, domain and range for the red one. I'm going to use set notation this time. So, every single x value, my y values are bigger than or equal to 0. Domain and range for my blue one, still every single x value, but but now my y values are less than or equal to 0. Yes.
You're allowed to use different notations for the domain and range.
Yes, and I'm going to switch between the interval notation and the set notation so you get used to them. So if you did 0 to infinity here and negative infinity to 0 here, that would be perfectly fine. You get to choose the notations. We have to know both of them because in a multiple choice question, both might appear. So I will alternate between them so you get used to both of them.